When I first started investing, of course, I started with the Philippine stock market because that felt the most familiar for me. Pero over time, nung nag-increase na ako ng mga investments, especially sa global investments, US markets, dun ko na-realize na hindi same ang aking results with the Philippine Stock Exchange versus the one in the US or even the global markets. And this is just my personal experience. So let's put this into perspective. For example, I have two ETFs that track different markets. For example, first market would be for the Philippines, like the FM ETF, which tracks the top 30 companies here in the Philippines. Yung past year result niya is just 1.75%. Yan yung pagkaroon ng increase over the past year. Now, if I look into the S&P 500, for example, because that's one of the most common and most accessible ETF, you can see that over the past year, 1 year return, meron siyang 14.76% return. And that's definitely higher than the one in the Philippines. When I first started out, of course, beginner pa lang ako during that time, I didn't want to stock pick, meaning I don't want to selectively choose a company that I want to invest in for a long term. Syempre kasi beginner pa lang ako that time, I didn't know the fundamentals and the technicals. So I really wanted to choose one ETF. An ETF is like a basket of different stocks so that I get to diversify with just one share of one ETF. That's when I realized something. So in the Philippines, if you want to be successful in our current stock market, you have to be selective and active in choosing your stocks, meaning stock picking method. In the US, you already get the diversification and the scale by just choosing one ETF. And then that's it. This video isn't about saying that this market is better than the other market, okay? And for me, I invest in both. So for example, I invest in both the Philippines and the global markets. And I'm very happy about it. For this video, it's really about choosing the best structure that fits your investing requirements. And if you want to explore the global markets as a Filipino beginner investor, then this video is for you. Investing globally from the Philippines is definitely possible. From my experience, it definitely falls down into 3 levels, from easiest to hardest, and I'll walk you through each level so that you'll know where you fit the best. Before we dive into the 3 levels and the platforms, I want to go through the criteria that I really have when looking into these different options. Kasi not all investments are hard in the same way. Meron silang different complexities for each level. So here are the list of my 5 criteria that I usually use. First, the ownership structure. What do you actually own? I would say there are 3 different scenarios here. So once you are a participant in a pooled investment vehicle, so that means you don't directly own any of these stocks in the vehicle aspect. So in that vehicle, imagine there are different types of stocks inside that. So isipin mo may sa vehicle na yan siguro maraming tao, and then maraming tao na yun, those are the stocks, but you don't directly own them. The shares are actually called units, or could be also shares for some instances, but then it's mostly called units for UITFs. For direct stocks, you are an owner of that stock or for that company. You hold direct legal rights, including voting rights at annual meetings and direct receipts of dividends. CETFs naman is technically a fund. It's like a basket again of different stocks. Pero for that, you can easily kasi access it and trade it. Hindi katulad ng mga mutual fund, which you have to contact or let the fund manager do it for you. Second, accessibility. Think of it kung gaano kadali siya i-open at ituloy. Kunwari mga account openings, fundings and withdrawal, local supports and system. Kunwari nagkaroon ng mga failure or system failure, you have to know kung gaano siya kadali to make sure na everything is okay. If mataas ang friction, meaning mas nahihirapan ka to use it, then I suggest to look at other platforms that fit your accessibility the most. Third would be frequency of use. And I know siguro for some platforms you haven't used them but you're willing to try it for the first time. But there are other platforms that you use every day and you can easily integrate by adding more features like this global investments. So think of it na how easily can you open this platform again and again, you use it every time, or you have a strong willingness to use it daily. Fourth would be platform risk. Gaano siya ka-stable over time. Isipin mo yung mga regulatory clarity, risk of sudden change. Kunwari may mga restrictions dyan. If ang uncertain ka sa platform risk, I suggest choosing the ones that are safer for you. Fifth would be complexity. So this would be kung marami kang stress na feel or parang feel mong sobrang hassle nito. And because you think that it's very hard to understand, think about your willingness to learn and going to tuloy-tuloy to yung pag-learn. At the same time, think about the tax, FX, forex exchange, those kinds. If mentally draining siya for you, then you have to choose a platform that's less draining, or again, you have to adjust yourself for you to willingly learn about these new and very complex topics. And choosing how to invest and for which level and for which platform, don't just ask which one earns me the most. Ask yourself, ano yung kaya mong i-commit? Kasi again, this is like your partner for the long term. So now we'll go through each level. For our first level, of course, it's the easiest way, investing in G funds under Gcash or through your local bank. So this is for you if you're a complete beginner and want to dive in as soon as possible without much risk. You want global exposure without any overthinking. For Gcash, it means simply going to their app, especially if you use their app every time. And then you can see the G funds under Gcash button, see the different funds that are available. For banks, it simply means having an investment account aside from your savings account. So you can usually just open it via your online platform, or you have to go physically to the bank and create your own investment account. For these two platforms, most of the funds available here are mutual funds or UITFs. So the pros and cons of these platforms. Pros, of course, it's very easy to access because the setups is familiar already because again, you use them daily. Marami silang access to PHP denominated global funds, which is good if for people na who don't want to have the hassle of converting your PHP to USD, for example. The cons naman, actually the basic underlying foundation of a mutual fund and UITF is different compared to the ones for direct stocks and for ETFs. Kaya, for example, sina mutual fund and UITF, they have a share like code NAV po yung pagtatrack ng performance nila. On top of that, meron din dagdag cost sa foreign exchange. Kasi right now, di ba, ino-offer nga sa ating mga PHP-denominated global funds and it's very easy for us. And of course, there's a cost for that accessibility and that convenience. If you use their PHP-denominated rates, of course, we're just relying on their own forex rates. And we just have to follow accordingly. Kaya, syempre, may chance mas mataas yung kanyang rates. I mean, for some banks naman, except for like si Gcash, currently, PHP denominated ang ino-offer nila. Pero for some banks, they do offer USD denominated. And for me, again, if you have USD on hand, you can easily just use that for your UITF and mutual fund investing para, again, no more forex rate fees. And finally, meron din higher capital requirement, especially for some of the banks. So for some banks, they do require siguro mga 50,000 pesos as a minimum investment if you want to invest in their global funds. Pero for BPI naman, from what I saw, meron silang ina-allow na 1,000 pesos lang na minimum investment. But you have to check again for these different banks kasi they do not operate the same way in terms of the minimum capital requirement that they need from their customers. Second level would be the medium way. So investing globally through local investing platforms. And this is for you if you're already investing, you want to level up and try a new platform aside from the usual ones. So what this looks like, it usually means using platforms solely for investing. So this platform include like Dragonfly, Cole Financial, Atram, and many others. For example, you can access these investing platforms not just for global funds, but also for your local stock investing. Now, pros and cons of using these platforms. Pros is that you have access to wider range of global and local funds and stocks. Hindi siya limited kasi to, for example, a single bank's mutual fund offerings. Meron siyang different available na fund managers funds kasi. Meron siyang better analytics and tools so that you can easily just access their dashboard and see your fund performance, stock performance. And meron kang more control over your investment strategy kasi I think for this, meron siya mas more advanced features na you can easily just automate your investing as well. They do allow for lower capital requirement, which is very good so that you can start investing into global funds for just 1,000 pesos. But please research for these different type of investing platforms kasi may chance iba-iba yung kanilang rules. Now, for cons, of course, since if you're new to the platform, you would need to study more. Meron din siyang learning curve. Third and final level would be the hard way, investing globally using foreign brokers. And quite controversial siya. These are platforms that give direct access to US stocks and ETFs, meaning ikaw mismo ang bibili at magmamanage ng mga stocks. For Filipino beginner investors, this level is considered hard, not just because of the setup, but because maraming rules, access, and requirements that can change over time. Some foreign platforms have been subject to regulatory advisories in the Philippines, which adds uncertainty. And for beginners, yung uncertainty na yun can already be a huge stress for them. For me talaga, there's really no best platform. You just have to pick the one that fits you the most. At the end of the day, if meron ikaw perfect platform, but di mo man ginagamit, then what's the point of that platform? Choose the one that you can definitely understand and stick to consistently, and then later on, you can scale up. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did, and please leave your comments down below if you have any, because I promise to try to get more long form content out regarding investing soon. Follow me for more on gatekeeping personal finance.